okay, what does he think about? What does he think about the recent transactions for Mr. Gilman? I believe was a fifth rounder for giving away Oway and a seventh. I'm not a fan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I liked Oway. I thought this was one of the guys who created a lot of pressure, and I know that you're looking at numbers when it comes to this Ravens defense, and right now we are at the bottom of them. But I think I was talking with somebody on X today, not Ecstasy, but Twitter, and they brought up the point that under Zach Orr, that Oway was able to get 10 sacks. I think that was fruits from the McDonald coaching before he left, but that's just me. That's my opinion on that joint. I think Oway was still, I don't know, I still think he was a good fit for Baltimore. I just think Baltimore sometimes just doesn't develop guys like they need to. There were a lot of players that have left Baltimore that have flourished. Antoine Barnes, he bounced around a couple of teams after he left us. Antoine Barnes, sorry. He left us. He ended up landing in San Diego or Los Angeles and flourished with, I want to say 11 sacks in one season. And that was after he left us. Beforehand, he's like only getting like 4.5 a couple of years. But then there's Matt Judon, who had like 12 and a half and 15 and a half sacks after he left us. Zadarius Smith flourishes in Green Bay after he left us. Went to multiple places and still was able to do well. I think he's got a sack already or a sack and a half in Philly after he left us. The point is Baltimore does not develop pass rushers. They expect the perfect product coming in when they draft them, and that is a significant problem. Lisa, what's happening? She says, I'm not happy about Adafe Owe going elsewhere. If you're not happy, hit the like button. I just feel like, somebody needs to hear this as well. Uh, I'm not happy about it. And I think that Owe is going to flourish over in Los Angeles. Why? Because I think one Harbaugh has a little bit better coaching technique than the other Harbaugh. I think when it comes to fixing organizations, you got one Harbaugh who's really good at going and fixing organizations and moving on to different places. You have another Harbaugh who continues to blame the players for their technique, for what they're supposed to be coaching to get right. And then they don't try to adjust on their coaching style and their scheme style based on the strengths and weaknesses of their team. I'm not saying fire Harbaugh. I'm saying that they got to do a better job at developing at the tactical level. And that comes to positional coaches and then also comes to coordinators. What I'm saying is what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. Zach Orr is not it. Zach Orr needs to go. What's up, Gerald? I see you here. So when it comes to the Gilmore cat, some people were saying that this is a Tom Zivakowski type player and that we didn't need him, but I think maybe we do. Maybe we need to shore up the three safety system that we're trying to push here, and I think Darius Washington was a significant piece to that three safety system. And I think with him there with Malachi Starks, that would have been a beast. But we got to deal with Gilmore now, or is it Gilman, in order to shore up that three safety system so that Kyle Hamilton can do what he does best, and that's roam like a madman, make things happen for this defense. Sorry, I'm still in bed. That's what retirees do, man. Anywho, Gerald says, yeah, that was a stupid trade. I like I said, it opens some things up though. Let's just be honest. I mean, right now we saw that Trent Simpson got a sack. He's got the highest passer rush rate. I think Sunday from the game. There's opportunities for him to play in the Sam. I want to see him, get crazy, get loose, get open, and get some sacks back there, create that pressure. Adisa Isaac, this is an opportunity for him to blow up. Heck, even Ojabo, as much as we had wanted to see out of him, but he didn't get those opportunities because either vets were sitting on top of him or he was injured. This may be an opportunity for him to, let's see if we can see what he's got in his pass rush portfolio. Get him a chance to develop. Mike Green, hey, we want to see it. This is supposed to be a top 10 pick. Now he's going to get more of those reps. And I believe he actually out repped Oway this past weekend. So it'd be interesting to see how the Ravens are going to act now that there is a voided pass rusher. And it's not to say that the Ravens are done, because I think Eric DaCosta is cooking each week. He's seeing like, hey, okay, coaching is one thing, but he knows that he can't sit on his laurels. He has to get in the front office and make some things happen. I've heard a couple of names come across the desk, and two of them stand out to me. One of them's contract, it really looks good. The other's contract does not look good. Max Crosby is a top tier player who has a big time contract, and it's not friendly for the Ravens to try and afford what Max Crosby has signed. But he would be a great fit here, and say they somehow made it work, made the money work. Ingraven says the cap is cap. If it is, then we can sign Max Crosby. I'm not so sure it is. I mean, we're sitting at maybe 16. So it's in the teens of cap space right now, 16 million. If we make a move for Max Crosby, it's going to hurt, and it's going to be a lot of finagling. It's going to be a significant restructure that's going to beat us up on the back end. We will eventually turn into the Saints. Let's call it what it is. However, there is a less pricey option for this Spider-Man posing outside linebacker slash defensive end up in New York. Brian Burns. I know that we wanted him, I believe, when he was in Carolina. His contract number this year would not hurt us significantly. We're still talking in the 20s as far as the cap number. But the dead cap money, I think, would be a significant hit for the Giants. So we'd have to make the compensation work as far as draft capital. And we would definitely be hurting for a top pick if we brought Brian Burns here. And we'd have to really think about this. Is this a fire sale? Or is this a, hey, we really think we got a shot this year, and so we are putting pieces together to make things work. Plus, we couldn't pay away what he was going to command in free agency, because even cheap dollar for Oweh would have still been 20 mil a year. 40 mil right now is the going number for the top pass rushers in the league, and Oweh's not it. But he probably would have had his agent go in there and bang the table saying, hey, my guy got 10 sacks last year. And the year before, he contributed to the Ravens leading the league in sacks with 60 on the year. So this would be bargaining power with the Baltimore Ravens. And then he would have commanded not a top tier contract, but one that would have been significant based on the market value. Lisa, what's up? She says, who will take Adafe's place? I think it's going to be Mike Green. And I think that they're going to see what they got in Ajabo, Simpson, and Disa Isaac. It's going to be something to see right there. Steve Hamilton, what's going on, man? Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and smack the bell, man. Appreciate you coming through. Joe says Daniel Fale needs to go. That is a bona fide fact. I was watching the tape earlier today, watching film on Odafe Oweh, and I believe Sip Tally was talking about reasons that Derrick Henry, like before contact, it was like he was constantly getting touched in the backfield, and he was showing a stat up on that Derrick got 0 yards before he was touched, and some of that had to do with Daniel, as the guy on Twitter says, Falala, Falala. No, they were blaming Falele for a lot of the errors or the lack of run game that we had, and I could see like throughout the game it wasn't all on him, but there were at least four snaps that I could count. And I know it's a significant amount of snaps per game, but 4 significant rushing snaps where you're like, hey, why is this guy not sticking with his guy? Why is he not on the guys like glue? If you want to see Fayette gone, go ahead and hit the like button, because I need to hit the like button because I want to see Fayette gone. There has got to be a better option out there at guard, and I don't think we need to trade for it. I think that Cleveland. Sorry, but sorry. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. Daniel Fale is just not that dude. He is not something that's you want to have in your organization if he's not going to get sticky with it. Whether it comes to pass protection, you could see it was kind of weird out there for him in pass protection. There were times he just got completely blown by. The pocket was being pushed like crazy. He's not holding his ground. And then when it came to the run blocking, you just saw him lost. There was a play, it was a screen pass. I get it, you got to get upfield, but block somebody, hit somebody. He's sitting here looking, and it's like, oh, I forgot that guy. Let me go back and go get him. And he puts a hand on him. You know, you got to be where your feet are. You have to, you have to, wherever your feet are, that's where your hands need to be. I'm not saying put them on the ground, but I am saying they need to be. Your feet need to be in front of you when you're blocking, and that's not him. And he's not one of those guys who's going to gain his ground, or he's going to give ground, and it's just a bad look continually week after week. And to see Harbaugh come up here and defend the two main factors of some of our losses, and Daniel Fairley and Zach Orr, it's really sad. It's really sad. Lisa says, as much as I like you, Gerald, I like Daniel Fairley. Why you like Daniel Fairley, Lisa? I want to know. He's not guarding much, like Gerald says. He's not looking for work out there. There are times when you see, I was watching other teams. I think I was watching Denver Broncos, and I'm like seeing him just this guard that was on the right side. And he's delivering punishing blocks. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how you block. You watch the right guard for the Broncos, I think, and for the 49ers. I was watching both of those, and those are right guards who just know what they're doing. They know how to go out there and punish somebody and make you pay. That's what the Baltimore Ravens need. And if we need to trade for it, cool. But I'm not all about trading for the fat boys. But obviously, if we don't, then we're going to continue to have to deal with Fairley. I think Cleveland is a better run blocker. I think he's a decent pass blocker. I think this is a guard that is simply in John Harbaugh's doghouse. Did you believe he's in John Harbaugh's doghouse? Just go ahead and hit the like button because I think he is. All right, Daryl says Lamar shouldn't have got sacked no 7 times. That is definitely on both guards. I believe Breeze is in on that as well. And you could see Stanley got beat a few times for him to get sacked along those lines. This is a team that couldn't protect Lamar, and I think that's why Lamar was on the bench injured. I'm not saying he faked an injury, but I am saying if you don't have Stanley out there and you're missing your top 6 highest players, maybe you don't put your star quarterback out there. And I think once those guys are proven healthy, maybe they'll put Lamar a little bit back out there because they don't want him getting hurt for the long run. The question is this season, is this a fire sale season? Or is this are we reloading back up for the long haul so that we can take care of business type year? And you probably heard this before, but we cannot continue to waste years on Lamar's contract. This needs to be a load up type deal. And in order to do that, well, first of all, you gotta hit the like button. But in order to make this a all in type year, this is where the Ravens have to go ahead and make that trade. I believe that Oweh was traded so that the Ravens could make that trade, make that big time move, the one that says, hey, oh yeah, that guy right there. And if they need to package up Roquan in order to do that, I'm all for it. Package up Roquan in the deal and ship him wherever. Because I'm going to be honest with you, when it comes to Roquan, he's not, for the last 2 years, this guy cannot defend the pass. He is getting things crossed. He's getting tight ends crossed across his face continually. He's no Fred Warner. And while he has some abilities against the run, this year has not been the case. So if you can't defend a run and you can't defend the pass, what good are you to me? What good are you to me? And obviously, if the defense is not getting in place where they need to be, that's on 2 different communication pieces. That of Zach Orr and that of the green dot. If you are the defensive coordinator, you need to get your message to your green dot in a manner that he can push it out to the team, have y'all set before the formation starts. Y'all seen it a few times this year and last year. That our defense just did not know what they were doing, and all of a sudden, boom, we're burning the timeout that we possibly could use later on in games. Roquan got to go. Zach Orr, gotta go. Daniel Fairley, gotta go. and, and apparently Harbaugh has his own agenda of who's going and who's leaving, but I'm hoping some of those players are on there. There was a discussion earlier about, actually, hang on, let me go back. Gerald says, once or twice, I wouldn't care, but 7 times it makes sense. Yeah, they definitely got to protect Lamar. Next is Lisa. She's saying, it's urgent. LJ gets paid. I got LJ gets paid. I've got Kelly Hansen and Foreigner on the brain. The thing about the money, the money is not going to make you better. It's not. It's not going to make a player better. Are they probably going to be a little bit more motivated? Sure, some of them. But on their downside, some get paid and then some get injured. The second they get paid, it's just like signing the contract. And I pulled something in my Next thing you know, they got out for a little bit, and we paid all this money. My thing about the contract, I don't care about it right now. I'll be honest with you, whether Lamar gets paid or not, unless it opens up cap space to sign a top of the class type player. I would like to see an elite pass rusher come to Baltimore. I would like to see a solid guard come to Baltimore. And if LJ signing a contract helps with that, which he doesn't negotiate during the regular season, then unless he did that, then I'd say, okay, I really care about LJ's contract. Right now, I don't care about his contract. I care about Eric DeCosta making some moves, whether it be restructuring or whatever, to put a premier pass rusher on this team. And then to go get a decent guard that we can have on this team and maybe open up the competition at middle linebacker, because we need someone right now who is going to lead this team, who is going to help with the run stop. Because right now we are 32nd or 31st or 32nd against the run. We've given up the most first downs in the league. We are dead last in just about every statistical category on the defense. And you trying to tell me that through 5 weeks that we should still keep Zach Orr? This doesn't make a lick of sense. And I can see why people are like coming and clamoring and banging the table for Harbaugh's head. I think Harbaugh, the head of the snake still stays. But you got to fix the coordinator piece. And it's not Todd Monken. It is not Todd Monken. There are some adjustments that can be made for Todd Monken's side of the ball. But when you are dead last in every statistical category, it's on the defense. It's on the coordinator. You know, the players can come out because the players, let's be honest, they've been a little brainwashed. They have bought into a system. And unfortunately, that system is not working. They are trying to go down with the ship and protect their guy because it is a buddy system. They're brothers. You know, if you go into a war with your brother and your brother can't hit stuff he can't hit the broadside of a barn in a war, that's still the guy that's been there training with you, throwing grenades with you, sacrificing themselves with you, going through every bit of it with you, every part of the way. You're not going to just throw him out there and say peace out. No, because you're at war together. You in this together. You lost together. But from a management perspective, this is where Harbaugh needs to make the tough decision to say, hey, look, I need to end this bond. I need to end this bond that I have with you and that you have with our team here, because you are not producing as the leader of that side of the ball. You are not motivating our men and putting them in the right position to be successful. In fact, here are your stats. You are down at the bottom of the league. I have to make that management decision to say we need to put somebody else there. And that somebody else is already there. Chuck Pagano needs to be the leader of this team. If you want Chuck, hit the like button to let me know you're with me, because Chuck Pagano is a guy who does a balanced defense, who knows what he's doing. Dean Pease is not that guy. Dean Pease, I had a discussion with somebody on Twitter or X or whatever, to say that while Dean Pease statistically, on paper, may look like, hey, he was one of the top defense coordinators, this, that, and the other. Dean Pease had short fields to work with because we had a garbage offense and we couldn't flip the field when it came to punting. I'm not dissing Sam Cook. But I am saying that the Ravens offense was pretty bad from after we won the Super Bowl. Right after we won the Super Bowl, the Ravens offense was kind of dismal. I think 2014, yeah, it turned up a bit. But after that, we were doing a lot of punting, a lot of flipping the field, and a lot of short fields to work with for those offenses. Dean Pease looked like, hey, he gave up the least yards in the league, but it's because we were flipping those fields, or we weren't flipping those fields, and we were giving teams short fields to work with because we were punting a significant amount. So he didn't have to defend that many yards. And so he had a bend don't break mentality when people were just working their way all the way down to the daggone one and punching it in. It was very frustrating to see Dean Pease and his prevent defense and those end of the game collapses that he had previously as well. Not a big fan. Hope he never returns to Baltimore. All right, S.R., man. Hey, appreciate you coming through, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and smack the bell. We need you. Come on, join Couch Rider Raven, man. He says Lamar Jackson got offered a $30 million deal with Michael Jordan. That was cap. That was a terrible Photoshop job. I seen it on Instagram, all of that. He did not get offered that contract. It didn't happen. It wasn't a thing, bro. Deed says Zach Segler reunion with savings they're getting from trading away. I think they're going to get about $7 or $8 million in savings on the cap. And I'd say Segler would not be a bad pickup. I think anybody that's going to clog holes over there would be great. Yeah, Chuck Pagano, definitely with you, Gerald. D says Ravens linebacker coach has 3 years of college of defensive coordinators experience, something to watch for. While I like the young cats, I prefer give me an old head with some experience. Give me an old head who's been around the block and who's seen some things. I would take an older defensive coordinator who knows how to defend the slot, because that's today's game right now. Is what can you do in the middle of the field? What can you do in the slot? And if you got a way of defending the slot corners or decent linebackers, whether it be Will or Sam, who can run with tight ends, the rest of the defense you can work around. But if you have those abilities and you can teach that ability, then we're good. Give me somebody who's willing to go out there and defend the run and punch some daggone running backs in the mouth. Because right now we don't have that. We are opening up the gates and giving up free real estate in Baltimore. SR says, don't he already got Jordan cleats? I'm pretty sure people come out there with nice cleats with whatever they want to wear, but there's no official Lamar Jackson shoe or cleat. Now, if he got one, that'd be pretty sweet. And maybe it gave Jordan the idea of, hey, maybe we should go into negotiations with it. But there's been no official deal between Lamar Jackson and Jordan. If it was, we'd have probably heard it first from El Freaky. Or even Jordan. But that was just a terrible Photoshop job. I couldn't believe that was put out there. I was like, this is marketing? I was like, no, this is really bad. Lisa says, I think Chuck Pagano is a Super Bowl winning coach. I agree. This guy has fought adversity to the umpteenth power. He beat cancer. Come on. You beating cancer, you can whoop anything. So you best believe that this is a guy who could help turn this team around. And y'all seen it in the past. Cam Cameron? He was with us, and he had basic routes. And then all of a sudden we get, I call him Little Zane because it's my brother-in-law's name is Zane. He looked just like Zane. But he ended up being taking over as offensive coordinator for us. And what happened? Because they fixed those basic routes that were constantly going to the outsides of the field, and they were able to push those routes to the inside of the field with the coordinator that took over after Cam Cameron. The Ravens ended up going to the Super Bowl. But they had to fire a coach in order to light a fire into this team. They lost part of their teammates so that they can elevate and get to the promised land. I think it is time for Zach Orr to be part of that sacrificial piece that lets the Ravens know, like, hey, we had to hold somebody accountable. We will continue to hold people accountable. I think Odafe Oweh was a part of that accountable piece. They said, okay, one, we can't sign him to a new contract because we can't afford it. And two, his reps were being taken by Mike Green because production was not where it was supposed to be at. That's probably part of them saying, hey, they're going to hold him accountable. But I do think, and yeah, like I said, Y'all go watch this guy. I mean, we're big Harbaugh fans, whether it be one side or the other. Watch Oweh. Watch Oweh as he goes over to Los Angeles, and he's going to get the right coaching and get the right opportunities. This guy is going to flourish in Los Angeles because he's still a freakish athlete. He just needs the opportunity. When it comes to Ravens ball, it's all about being unselfish. And when it comes to unselfish gameplay, your stats sacrificed. And so when it comes to losing, that's when it comes glaring across the screen. Oh, you didn't get any sacks in the last couple of. Well, your scheme. Your scheme didn't set it up for him to have that type of success. So now when he goes to Los Angeles, you start to see the sacks pile up, just like how Antoine Barnes did when he went over there. It's probably because of coaching. Let's see who else is here, y'all. We got a few of y'all in the room, man. Big Reg is here. What's up, man? Hey, David Fife, man. Hey, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit subscribe. And smack the bell so you know when it's going down. So that you get that notification, man. When I pop up on here on random, you'll be ready. And we can chop it up. Let's see here. Jim Caldwell. Yes, that was Jim Caldwell who was the coordinator. I appreciate you, bro, for taking us back down memory lane. He definitely fixed the route concepts and realized that Anquan Bolden across the middle of the field was a beast type move. So David says Ravens won't win, let alone make the Super Bowl. So we got a hater in the room. What's your team, David? What is your team? So is that, or you're just one of those pessimistic Ravens? We've had a few of those, and it happens, But you still a fan, so we still like you. When it comes to the pessimistic Ravens fan, it's got to be tough. Like, how do you come back and re-up on your positivity or re-up on your energy to remain negative continually when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens? So, like, for me, yeah, it was a little bit of a frustration last week when Lamar was out. I did a video, it was on TikTok, and because I just didn't even want to watch the game, to be honest. I was that down. I told her, I was like, I'd rather stay in church all Sunday. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Lord, but it was just like I love my football too. But it just was not something I wanted to sit there and watch. Cooper Rush throw 3 picks. One of them wasn't it wasn't his fault, and apparently the other one wasn't. One other one wasn't his fault either because Bateman stopped running the route. But I think it was a very 50-50 ball. It would have been a 50-50 ball type throw if Bateman had continued his route, but it still wasn't the right throw. Let's see. David says Henderson is in a crappy defense and led the league in sacks. Some people have that talent. They have significant off the wall talent, but others need coaching and others need scheme. We are one of those teams that needs scheme and we need good coaching, man. Coaching on technique. This is that type of spot. You've seen it before. There have been top tier type players that have been brought here that just do not flourish here. Matt Judon was one of those. Like, all of a sudden, he leaves to the Pats. He tears it up with the Pats. Z goes elsewhere, tears it up elsewhere. Why? Because here, they don't coach. At least on that defensive line. They're not doing the right coaching that they're supposed to. All right. Big Red said, it's easy to do it professionally. It's easy. I do it professionally. What do you do professionally? Curious. Fife says Lamar has shown time and time again that he folds in big moments. The thing is, Lamar ain't even on the field. So, like, why are you taking this little time out to throw a little hate on Lamar? You just had that one just ready just to throw like a little tomato. Just like, I'm going to toss it now, baby. Just put this hate out there. You got hate in your heart, you let it out. Hate, 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 hate. All right. Lisa says, I've been with this team over 30 years and refuse to give up. There you go. That's type positive we need up in here, David. Dang it. Big Red says, pessimistic Ravens fair. Yeah. Big Red, you've had your moments, but you still come back around. And you still was a fly. You still rocking. It is, like, it's very hard to sit there and go into Sunday and be pessimistic and hope for the worst. I think a few of y'all have feelings like you're hoping for the worst to happen because you want to see Harbaugh fired. But then it's like, all right, so you've had that pessimistic little animal fed of yours because you were hoping for things to fail.
Where do you go from there? Like, what happens if Harbaugh is fired? Do you then turn positive? Do you then have that like ha ha like loving moment like to where you're like, hey, I'm rooting for this team to be positive now, things will go good? Or do you still think like, oh my goodness, it's about to get worse, and then you continue to be pessimistic? Just questions. Primal fears. Oh gosh, let's go Lions. Tell you something. If yo receiver ever come in Baltimore again and say some stuff like he said, because I don't want to repeat it, I'm pretty sure he won't make it out. He'll be thrown into the harbor. Let's just be real. Let's see here. Big Red says, yes, I will be open to the future of the team. Okay, so he said if Harbaugh's fired, he would be open to the new future of the team. And that's cool. I'm with you. I feel like that Harbaugh would get a job anywhere instantly the second he's fired. And I think he'll turn the team around. I think here, Harbaugh is one good defensive coordinator away from something special. Todd Monken was hired by Harbaugh, and Todd Monken has successful schemes. We just got to get back on track and get everybody healthy. But I do think we are a defense coordinator away from a championship. And I think that he has to legit go hunting elsewhere for that. I think them bringing in Zach Orr and giving him an option of scouting or coaching route, and then all of a sudden propelling him into the defensive coordinator seat before he was ready, is a significant mistake by this team. But I do think that with the right replacements, this team could definitely shoot through the roof. We had a chance last year to get Robert Saleh, and we did not take that. Where is he at now? He's back with the 49ers, coaching his butt off, and they look great, even though they got a banged up quarterback. So there was opportunities there to pick up a better defensive coordinator. And there will be tons of opportunities throughout this season to pick up a better defense coordinator. We just got to pull the trigger on getting rid of Zach Orr. Not a fan. Never will be. At least it says Fox has the game Sunday. I hope it's not Tom Brady. I don't have a problem with Tom Brady. I have a problem with Tony Romo. He is bad luck for the Baltimore Ravens. Go look at our record when Tony Romo has called the game. We have lost a lot of games when Tony is on the call. It is just he's and then of course he glazes Pat Mahomes whenever we play. Uh, yeah, but he glazes the other quarterback, and just I'm not a big fan of Tony Romo's calling when it comes to our games. The other games, I don't care. It's like whatever. But Tony, stay away from us. David says I can't say much. I'm 40 and been a lifelong Bengals fan. Oh, okay. We always talk a big game, but screw it up every year. Is it safe to say? Is it fair to say right now, where we are at this exact moment, that the Baltimore Ravens are a combination of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys? And actually, I can't even say Dallas this year because Dallas has they don't have a losing record, but they don't have a winning record either. 2-2-1, but we have high-powered offense, zero defense, and that is kind of the equivalent of the Cincinnati Bengals. They don't know what they're doing right now on offense because Browning is just that terrible. Yes, I know they got Flacco, but what is Flacco? Except the guy who rolls out and throws picks. And I called that this year. And I'm telling you, whenever Joe Flacco rolls out of the pocket, there's picks that are going to get thrown. Okay. Lisa, she says, trust me, Zach isn't going anywhere. You, you might be right. Unfortunately, you might be right because Harbaugh protects the homies. Lisa says, give me Jim Nance all day long. I'm with you. David says, no, because they have a competent coach. That's the difference between Cincy and us. I think it's very similar right now. David says, that being the Ravens. What being the Ravens? Oh, the coach have it. Oh, you saying we have a competent coach? Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I think John, he's been consistent, but same time hiring the homies sometimes is not the best thing. Remember, it was a Martinez offensive line coach, and I could not stand him. He was so bad. It was just the worst offensive line coach you could possibly imagine. And he refused to get rid of him. I think he promoted him to run game coordinator, which caused another running back coach of ours to quit and move to another team because he could see that John kept promoting the homeboys for bad behavior. It was just sad. Now Big Red says John said in his presser nothing is wrong and that they need to stick together. Well, if he goes and take a look at the stat sheets, there's a lot wrong right now. We talking 3-alarm hot chili, just bad. It's like putting applesauce in 3-alarm hot chili. It's just so many different things wrong with that. It's just so bad. We are basically a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest right now. It is not looking good, and we are way down. We are way down. This is the worst I've ever seen the Baltimore Ravens defense. It is not good. And the thing was, during the offseason, we were bragging. We were absolutely bragging about how talented this roster was, how great this secondary was going to be, how we weren't going to be giving up yardage in Baltimore because we had such talent on the roster. And I said there was a couple of things I was worried about. I think I said in the offseason was Daniel Fale, and I was worried about Roquan. And I ain't saying, like it feels good to be right, but it does. It's good that we're able to look at it now and say, hey, these are significant issues. And Zach Orr was still another one of those significant issues. All right. Fife says Zach Taylor is an absolute joke. So you have a top 3 NFL quarterback, number 1 wide receiver, and you can't draft, coach, or acquire a decent O-line. I agree. I think that they should have shopped a little bit better for defense coordinator in Cincinnati. And I definitely think that looking at the options at offensive line, yeah, when it comes to Cincy, you guys went after a guy who basically wasn't good enough for the Chiefs at the time. If the Chiefs thought it wasn't good enough and they got Dwan Taylor over there just doing dumb stuff constantly, putting Pat Mahomes under duress, if you wasn't good enough for the Chiefs, then why are you signing this guy to a multi-million-dollar deal now? Didn't make sense. They definitely need to do some homework. Lisa says, we believe and we'll achieve. I love your positivity, gal. Love it. Big Red says, yeah, and I told y'all they were overrated. Probably talking about the entire roster. Let's see here. And then Fife says AFC North is an absolute up in the air, I guess. It is totally up in the air. One, because PFF, as much as I don't like PFF, because I call them Pro Football Cap, I think that they may be spot on with this Aaron Rodgers stuff. I said it from the offseason, I'll say it now. He's not that dude. He may have the smarts, but his body is not going to be there with him. And as soon as he runs into this Cleveland Browns buzzsaw, I think that's this weekend, that's a defense that's going to eat him alive. And he's going to feel the woes of a pass rush that's going to get home. And he's going to feel that defense come get him like crazy. And Dillon Gabriel might be the Browns' future. He is. I called that during the offseason as well. I was like, look, Shadir versus Dillon. Y'all can go back and watch the tape when they faced off against each other. He looked better. He looked better at him in the same stadium. And as much as people like Shadir, I like Shadir as a good character kid. I do not like Shadir as a lead of my football team, and that is because Dillon doesn't hold on to the ball as long as Shadir does. Shadir is not as accurate. I'm just not that big of a fan. I think Dillon Gabriel is going to be a pretty decent signal caller. He may not have the height of the prototypical quarterback, but this guy has the skills. Stick with him, Cleveland. There's something there. All right, Fife says they brought in Frank Pollock, who had Dallas the number one O line, and he was an absolute failure. Sometimes it's just systems. It comes down to, okay, you're bringing your system into one spot, and maybe there's one or two techniques that you're missing that you had in the previous system that is not working here. Brian Billick is a perfect example of that. When he was in Minnesota, his offense was off the charts. And then he came over to Baltimore and he got a quarterback from Cal who had a rocket arm, but he decided to dumb down the offense and not go high powered, not throw the ball deep when you got a guy who's all about throwing the deep ball. Kyle Bowler was all about throwing the deep ball. That was all the Bears did was throw deep. It's crazy. And he was supposed to be the next Tom Brady. But Billick did not utilize him the way that he would have utilized quarterbacks in Minnesota. So there's a problem. Lisa says, I won't tolerate pessimism. Only good things to say about the Ravens. I mean, of course, there's got to be feedback, Lisa. There's going to be times where we talk about the legit issues like this weekend. Was there anything good that came out of this past weekend? Other than, I think we got 2 sacks. So there's that. And we saw a nice play from Zay Flowers. There was that. We saw a beautiful catch by DeAndre Hopkins. So Nuke got a good play out of there. But I mean, outside of that, there was a lot of bad. There was a missed field goal from our rookie kicker. That was like a 55-yarder. I'm not saying it would have brought us anywhere near the point total. But there was a lot of bad to look at in that game. There was some good, but there was a lot of things I'm just like, oh, God, why? All right, Fife says, Burrow and Chase need to pull a Brady. Take the pay cut and spread it around for them rings. Money will come with endorsements and other avenues, but championship windows close fast. I think so. I agree because, the first $50+ million quarterback to win a Super Bowl just did it. And that was Jalen. But Jalen's been special since he started. Day one, he was breaking rushing records and receiving it. He was breaking the rushing receiving. I think it was a combination of first player in NFL history to have over 100 yards rushing and 150 yards receiving in a game or something. So that was day one for him. So he was doing things and he was proving a lot of people wrong. There was a lot of doubters when it came to Jalen. And there still are. Dude's got a ring on his hand right now, defending Super Bowl champ, and people still doubt his ability to play football. So, but like you said, I like the Tom Brady type mentality. Let's not pay me as much money, but let's spread this wealth around so that we can get quality players and go get some rings. And I get it. The NFLPA is probably not going to allow too much of a drop in contract because they're trying to continue to elevate the markets of the position. And we saw what happened with Derrick Henry, of all people, who decided to take a pay cut to try and chase a ring. He screwed the running back salary cap all the way up. It was like it hurt negotiation power. It took them back about 4 or 5 years because he took such a significant pay cut when he could have had $22 million right off the bat, probably 6 years ago. Anyway, Lisa says, when will LeJohntay Wester be involved on Sundays? He was in the back of the game. You could see LeJohntay getting in. But I agree. I think LeJohntay should be starting on kick returns. I get it. There's the depth chart. There's people got to climb up the depth chart, this, that, and the other. But I think LeJohntay should be at the top of that depth chart on kick returns. He has an electric ability to get loose. We saw it in the preseason. Ali looked good. But I want to see LeJohntay out there. And if it's got to be Ali and LeJohntay, cool. Get Keaton where Keaton needs to go, in the backfield with the running backs, not over here returning kicks. All right, we got some new people in the room here. Nico, please, hey, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and smack the bell. We need you here. Definitely need that subscribe, folks. Nico says, if I gave you the power to dominate the world, would you finally stop looking at other men's accomplishments? What you talking about, man? Another question I'm going to take pinches. Dirtman, what's good? Looks like a lot of advertisements here. I need Brooke here to moderate. Says Ryan Corville, Jalen trash, and he ain't winning nothing with the best roster in the last 20 years. Jalen just won though, right? Hey, do me a favor though, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, man. But yeah, he just won. So I mean, what you saying? He had a pretty good roster, and they probably gonna go back again. Nico says, I mean, you have a whole channel dedicated to other men's accomplishments, and my question seems pretty direct and unconfused. I'm not, but I mean, we just talking football, man. It's just what we do here. Like, why you call it? You still confusing me. You still confusing. So who is Gigu? Hello, Gigu. You a Ravens fan, or are you part of the AFC North somewhere? Like, we welcome you all. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, smack the bell. Hey, y'all got me off track, man. So what I'm still getting at is there's a big move coming. There's a big move coming. We just gotta be patient and just know that Eric DeCosta is working. Make sure y'all still be nice to Lacey. She may come back on, she may not. But I think she's a wonderful person and our family's awesome. So let's not attack her when we lose. So let's be cool about that and recognize that she is just a super fan just like us. And we gotta do what we can to support the flocks, the legit flock folks that are out there supporting. Lisa says, we need you, Pat Ricard, and we miss you. I definitely believe that Pat Ricard would make a significant change in this run game. If you put Pat Ricard in, and I mean, nothing against Paid, was it Mitchell? Paid Mitchell, Zay Mitchell, Payer, I can't remember what that dude's name. The guy who's in fullback, 84. Nothing against him. But Pat Ricard would make a significant difference in this run game and how we run business. You move Mitchell to the bench. You move Ricard in, hopefully a healthy Ricard. And then you bench for LA and watch this game take off. Watch the run game go through the roof, folks. It'd be great. And then when it comes to it on the outside, last year, something you saw was wide receivers making great blocks last year. Go back to the Bills game. Watch not the one we lost. Watch the game we won. Watch the Steelers game. You're seeing great blocks being set up by the wide receivers. We need to get back on that again. Nana says Lacey is a wonderful person. Amen. David says Jim should come to Cincinnati. Then we could have the brothers playing 2 times a year. We would put them on the map again. I don't want to see that 2 times a year, because right now, the way that Jim goes to organizations and turn teams around, y'all would be going somewhere. Y'all would find a significant defense, and Jim with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I hate to say it, but y'all would go to the Super Bowl with Jim Harbaugh. That's just that simple. I mean, he could totally do that. Now, if he picks the right offensive coordinator, you pick Greg Roman and you take him over there and put him with y'all too. Like, y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all ain't going nowhere. I think when it comes to the Chargers, though, they got to fix their offensive line issues just like we do, because Herbert is definitely under duress right there. He's in a tough spot. David says, do you think Chase Brown is having a bad year because of the line, or is it because of the pressure of being a number one running back? I think it's the line. I think Chase Brown is a electric running back, and I think if he's traded somewhere, let's say he goes anywhere besides Carolina, I think the dude could tear it up. This could be a pretty solid running back. I'm trying to think of teams that could use him. I mean, like, he went to Denver, and I know they got Harvey, I know they got Dobbins over there, but imagine Chase Brown over there spelling J.K. Dobbins. You talk about work. Denver would be more dangerous than they currently are right now. And don't get me wrong, Harvey is decent, but Brown, I think, is just electric. Rohit Kohudri. He says, do doctors or pilots get paid more in the States? I don't care. Couch Rider, did you hear that Captain Defense passed away on Sunday? He was a wonderful person and a huge Ravens fan. He was. I was trying to get him on the show. We couldn't get our schedules together. This guy was just a fantastic guy. He was just very big heart. He was one of my Facebook friends for the longest. We would chat it up sometimes about losses or wins, and he just, man, so kind, so very open. Usually liking on the post. Popped into the room a few times. I really did like Wes, and I wish him and his family the best. Definitely keep them in my prayers, and hopefully they find peace and closure to this chapter of their life without such a loving friend and family member. David says Cincy should hire Joe Brady for offense coordinator. He had them boys at LSU cooking, looking nasty. It's a big transition. It is a big transition when it comes to coordinator in college versus coordinator here. Some of the schemes work until they get figured out. The same thing with Monken. I mean, his schemes were working the last couple of years, and I don't know if people have figured this out yet, but we're gonna find out when Lamar returns. But I loved seeing that transition of Monken coming to this level here. It's just very easy for him. But you got to wonder if it's going to be the same for Joe Brady. Lisa says RIP Captain Defense. I met him when JT was at Foreman Mills. I don't think I got a chance to actually meet him in person. But like I said, we chatted in. I've been in his inbox a couple of times, just like, hey, we chatted up, talking about doing the show. He wanted to come on. He was just letting me know when his availability was. But, when a guy is that popular, he was getting on TV shows. He was doing all types of stuff. And you can check his Instagram out, and he was just constantly moving, always moving. David says, I wouldn't trust Zach Taylor to call a Pee Wee King. Quit running everything out of shotgun. That's just how they roll, man. I mean, granted, if they put Joe Burrow on a play action rollout, that would leave a lot of real estate. He got some wheels. He can run. But it also would open things up on the ground game for the right seam. If you do a wedge with Chase Brown, dangerous. I hate to sit here and game plan how dangerous the Bengals could be, but they are a dangerous team. It just is what it is, and adding different schemes into that offense is going to be great for them. But they ain't got Joe right now, so it definitely makes things a little difficult when it comes to Browning or Flacco. Ooh, wow. Sorry, I woke up early. I dropped the kids and wife off at the airport. They went over to Disneyland, so definitely hoping they have a safe trip. But Lisa says, hey, Nana, Cat the defense was a sweetheart, right? Big Reg says he's running everything out of shotgun to attempt to give him more room to throw, but it's not working. That's true. Because you got to set up the run game in order to set up the pass. And if you cannot run some I formation to give those defenses a chance to be honest, then they're going to just pin their ears back and come after you. Or, of course, there is the other option of, hey, you can run shotgun, but you need to run West Coast. You need to run concepts like mesh. There are lots of slants, lots of outs, lots of digs, lots of full-on comebacks to set up the deep ball. You just can't sit here and throw it to Ja'Marr Chase deep or throw it over across the middle deep and expect things to happen. With us, our problem is I can't stand the screen pass. I'm so sick and tired of seeing the screen pass. I love Monken's offense, but that screen pass works 5% of the time. 95% of the time, we're getting stopped in the backfield for a loss, or maybe it's a 2-yard gain. It's not where we need to be. 5 says, Flacco is going to break a hip with all these shotgun formations. Defense just pins their ears back and comes with bad intentions. Yeah, they definitely know it's pass. Yeah, it's a thing. They got significant wide receivers where they actually can throw a 50-50 balls. Higgins is a 50-50 ball guy. So if people are doubling Chase, then, of course, Higgins needs to be that 50-50 ball guy, and maybe Joe realizes that. Maybe Joe's got the arm still to get it to them. Just don't have him roll out. Lisa says, what's your coffee, Jermaine? I don't drink coffee. I drink, I was going to drink a Red Bull. Not a Red Bull. Let me go get it. Field trip. All right, so normally I mess around with energy drinks, and I usually drink Alani. So Alani's it's a fun drink. It's got about 200 milligrams caffeine in it. And I go with the Cosmic Stardust. Either that or the. So I go with cherry slush, or I go with cosmic stardust. If I can get the thing. Let's see here for a second. All right, let these dogs out just for a second. We'll keep chatting just for a little bit longer. Then I gotta go do some work. Oh, and I forgot. It's been a while since I talked to y'all, but I wanted to let you know I got a job. I got a job. I'll be retired from the military. I'll be officially retired on Halloween. But I got a job working as an advertising and marketing specialist for the Omaha Public School District. So I'm excited about that, and I'm grateful that somebody thought of me enough to say yes on the position. Anyway, so I'm drinking Cosmic Stardust today. Yeah, I appreciate you, Big Rez. It's just it was a long search, man. When I tell you it was 319 resumes submitted, man. 319. I'm still getting rejections in my email right now. It's crazy. Yeah. So 319 resumes submitted, right? I got 300 and it was 319? Yeah. 319 resumes submitted. 3 offers. So yeah, 3 offers. One of them just wasn't the money that I couldn't get the money to where it needed to be. They accepted and they told me like, hey, we're gonna pay you $20,000. Like, or so they told me they're gonna pay me like 72. And I was like, cool. And then they came out like way low, like 55. I was like, well, no, absolutely not. And they're like, well, you should have read the job offer. I was like, no, you guys said that you could work with this. And so we disconnected and just fell off. The next job, there was an offer, but I couldn't start in time or something. And I was like, that sucks. And then the third one, so it must have been 4 officers. So there was one other where they were like, hey, we want you to be like you, we're gonna get you a pay raise, this, that, and the other. And then they just disappeared. Like they fell off the map and sent me a message saying that we decided to move forward without you. I'm like, was there something wrong with my background check? So I went and checked my own background. Yeah, and everything's clear. We're good. Yeah. So Big Reg, if you want, send me your resume, and I can help you to beef it up, to look for those keywords, those ATS words, in order to get that job resume correct. But yeah, just let me know and I can help you out on that. What your field and all that. We'll check into that later. Anyway, so I want to get back to the Ravens and this week. When it comes to the Los Angeles Rams, this is a team that's got some fight. This is a team that, based on what we saw on Thursday night, they were 2 big mistakes away from winning a football game. 2. They have a wide receiver that plays out this world. And then there's Devontae Adams. Right? So it's like Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. And who are our starting corners right now? Do we know? Do we have a healthy Marlowe? Because right now, Wiggins got kind of embarrassed last week by Nico. Puka Nacua versus Wiggins, it's going to be a little scary. Do we have a healthy Cheeto back? Because right now we're talking about Chidobe Awuzie and Jair. Or excuse me, not Jair, but Chidobe Awuzie and TJ Tampa. Or no, I'm screwing this whole thing up. Wiggins and TJ Tampa is out there. Is probably our guys. And of course, Jair. So that's gonna be, it's a tough sledding is gonna happen right there because Devontae's still gonna ball. Wiggins is a decent corner, but he can't be both. He can't cover both of them. And then we're looking at our safeties like, all right, what are we doing right now? So is this Gilman guy, is he going to be ready to capture our scheme and be ready to rock on Sunday with the defense concepts? Is he going to have that understanding, or is there going to be miscommunications and deep shots on the back end? Kyron Williams is a He's the top tier running back. Let's just call it what it is. We can't stop the run. This is going to be a problem. Matt Stafford is no slouch. This is going to be a game that people are going to want to burn Baltimore down after, or we're going to recover because we have a healthy Lamar back. And we got a healthy 6 starters that should be back there on defense. And hopefully Eric DeCosta has made a move to pull in a heavyweight type of defensive lineman or either offensive line, defensive line, outside linebacker to help this organization out. Be straight. I mean, at least it says don't give Matt Stafford all day to throw. Exactly, right? Well, how are we doing that, right? How are we doing that? Man, it says the Rams are no joke, and Sean McVay is a great coach. Yes, Wallace saved us when we last played him at home. Yeah, it was all the way to the wire and to that moment when Wallace saved us. Wallace still out there on the field making plays. Got to give him props. When he gets in the game, he does what's asked of him. We need him to do a little bit more. Fife says, my 7-year-old learned what it's like being a Bengals fan on Sunday. He came out of his room, asked if I was yelling at the TV. Then he told his mother I said Browning was trash. Browning is pretty bad. I mean, he's about as bad as his girlfriend. Yeah, because Browning is just really bad. Like I watched him against, I want to say Minnesota. I never seen such bad football in one. It was, I think, one play would just defined the whole game for him, and it was so bad at football. I was like, oh my gosh, he ran past the line of scrimmage. It was already, I want to say, it was an already illegal formation penalty, and this dude ran past the line of scrimmage and threw the ball and threw a pick, and I'm like, oh man. This is horrible football right now. How come you can't play this against the Ravens, please? You got Joe, so things will get a little bit better. Like I said, just don't have him roll out the pocket. Fife said that third pick reminded me of playing jackpot as a kid. I mean, we throwing picks too, man. So it's definitely not green pastures in Cincinnati or Baltimore right now. It's like you want to see success when it comes to both of these teams. Me being an LSU fan, at least that's my second team now. I'm a native of Nebraska, so I have to root for Nebraska now. So, but you want to, root for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase when they're not playing the Ravens. You want them to be successful, but they're just not. And the more that they have that lack of success, the more you're going to see Jamar Chase get a little bit more emotional in the media. And that's going to end up tearing that team down because he is a leader of that team, but he also can get pretty emotional quickly. Same thing with us. The more that you see those L's come, the more you're going to see those podcasts, and it's going to continue to piss off people as they see Marlon Humphrey on a podcast. It's going to drive people insane. Anyway, I've been on here for about an hour, man. It's time for us to go see if there's anybody healthy coming out on these injury reports and stuff, and let's just hope for our Ravens, hope for the best, and hope we can give it a good foot forward on Sunday, man. With that said, I appreciate you coming through to the home of Original Sports Perspective from our couch to yours. Still learning OBS, and hopefully I can put something together soon. But with that said, 2 claps, fade to black.